sixth graders. We are back to learning about those Greek and Latin roots. And this week we are going to be talking about the Latin root graph and gram. Graph and gram mean to write. So I need you to open up your reader's notebook to the green writing about reading section. And you're going to fit these notes right underneath last week's, which we talked about fin, which meant end or limit. So you're in the next set of squares right underneath that. In the center of your page, you're going to write the Latin root graph / gram. And then in the upper left-hand corner where we filled in definition, you're going to write in the definition, which is to write. Okay, here are a bunch of examples that you are going to fill in the example square. I want you to pick at least 4 of these. I know you probably don't have a ton of room. If you can fit in 3, great. 4 is even better. But I not only want you to write the word, I also want you to write the definition. So I'm going to go through these. These are some fun ones. Some of them might be review for you, and some of these might be new. Grammar are rules for using the written word. Think about when your language arts teachers, remind you to use correct grammar. This is what we're talking about, okay? You will use rules for using that written word. A paragraph is a division of written work, right? We always start our new ideas by indenting our paragraph, so that means that that's where that division comes in. A cardiogram, you may have heard if somebody was talking about, if they had a heart condition or had maybe had a heart attack, they maybe would have had a cardiogram done. And it's the tracing or the writing made by a heart monitor. So those little boop, 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 that you maybe have seen on a TV show, those little up and down lines, that's the tracing of the heart's movement. An autograph is a person's own handwriting. If you have met someone famous before, maybe you have asked for their autograph and they've written their signature for you. A biography is a story of a person's life. We know that it was written by somebody other than the person. An epigraph is a saying written on a building or a statue. If you've ever been to, say, the state capitol building in St. Paul, or if you've been to a cemetery where maybe someone famous has been buried, oftentimes you will see an epigraph, and it's something that that person has said or done, and it would be engraved on a stone, either a statue or like a tombstone or a building. Graphics are pictures or map or a graph used for illustrations. Orthography are writing words with correct spelling. An autobiography is a story of one's own life written by oneself. So think about those words, pick 3 or 4 of them to write the word and the definition in your reader's notebook. Okay, and so at this point, this is what your reader's notebook should look like so far. You have the graph and gram Latin root in the center of your square. In the upper left-hand corner, you have the definition. And then in the example section, you have 3 or 4 of the words that use graph or gram with the definition for it. Okay, so what I'm going to ask for you to do next is you are going to pick either one of the words that I've provided in the examples for you, or you can find some on your own that use or follow the graph and gram Latin root. You need to make sure that it follows that definition of to write. Okay, so again, you can use some of those other tools we talked about last week if you want to come up with your own, or again, you can use ours. But your job moving forward is to select one of these words. You're going to write it in a complete sentence using the word that you'll fit in the sentence box. And then you're going to create a picture that matches your sentence. So if you remember last week, I used the Latin root finish or fin, and I used the word finish for my sentence. I was overjoyed to finally cross the finish line. That was my sentence. I underlined the Latin root that I used with the word finish, and then my picture represented me running across a finish line. Okay, so whatever word you choose to use for your sentence, your picture needs to match. So this is what your assignment is. It's due tomorrow, Friday, November 13th. It is worth 5 points. So task 1 is to make sure that your notes are complete, that you've inserted graph and gram in the center, that middle section, that you've included the definition to write, that you've used at least 3 or 4 examples with the definitions. In the example section, task 2 is to select one of those words which contains graph or gram to use in a complete sentence. Capitalization, punctuation, and spelling of that root word count. So make sure you follow those rules. Make sure that your picture matches your word in your sentence. And then your final task is to take a picture of that set of notes and turn that picture into Schoology. It will be the graph gram assignment in Schoology, found on Friday, November 13th. Make sure to ask your reading and writing teacher during your Zoom meetings if you have any questions about this task. Good luck, everybody.